You know, it's often said about the human beings that everybody believes there is a God. That's a pathetic statement, you know it. Here's the truth. Everybody believes God is. Every human being on the face of this earth, in his heart of hearts, knows there is one true and living God, and he is the God of the Bible, but they so hate him that they suppress that truth in unrighteousness and act like it's not true and try to deceive themselves into believing it's not true, so that they're left without excuse. And why is that ignorance guilty? Well, look what he says. He says, man lives in a universe where God reveals himself everywhere he turns his head. The existence of God is evident to them. For since the creation of the world, the perfections of God had been clearly seen. Not just by Christians, but by everybody. Being understood through what has been made, so that they were without excuse. Every human being on the face of this earth knows that our God is. But they will not bow before him until God changes their heart. In fact, you have an interesting statement there in verse 21. For even though they knew God. Now Jesus said the world doesn't know God. Here Paul says even when they knew God. Well, there is a sense in which all human beings know that God is, but they don't know him personally. They don't want to know him. They don't want to live in terms of his existence and in terms of his sovereignty. They know if they have to admit that such a God exists, they can't sin in peace. They know that if such a God exists, he is their judge, and they can't afford to admit that. And so they worship idols even though they know better. Even though they've deceived themselves, they have no personal knowledge of God. And so God gave them up. God gave them over. And you see, this is one of the clear statements in the Bible about the depravity of homosexuality. The next time somebody tells you the Bible doesn't say anything about homosexuality, just read them that verse, those verses. God gave them over because they would not recognize them in his heart.